Hey Eddie, welcome everyone. I wasn't even going to go live today, but a bottom feeder decided to go drag somebody that didn't deserve it. So here I am tonight. Oh, Dorothy. Hey Robin. Hey Jenny. Welcome. I'm streaming on both platforms tonight. So hey Beatlemaniac. I'm doing pretty good today. So hey Charlie-Ann, welcome. Um, Everyone heard Mrs. Portland got arrested. This was on Saturday, 8:12 Pacific Standard Time. Hello, Aquarian baby, Maggie May. She was arrested 8:12 Pacific Standard Time. That would be about 11 something Eastern. This was on Saturday, the 27th. And everyone heard that news. I heard it yesterday when I was live. I'm doing a Eli restream, and I went over to the Washington County jail website, and I actually did my research, and I actually looked to see if she was in jail. Everybody, I'm gonna get to that, Shan. Hey. So on her booking, it says she was arrested for violating the anti-stalking order. I actually don't know the answer to that, Charlie-Ann. I don't know who actually put the news out, but who actually found out about it. But I learned it from Kim. I don't know where she learned it from, actually. So I'm just I just be assuming if I shout out names, and I'm not going to do that here. Yeah, I totally get it, Robin. I totally Robin. I totally get it, and I agree with you. I agree with you 100%, Robin. And we're going to get into that tonight because we have someone on another channel with people in her chat, Dorothy. She's crying, poor Mrs. Portland, along with her chat. This will be so dramatic for her. Oh, poor and then she's dragging Noodle Mash on top of that. And yes, yeah, I agree with you, Samantha. I agree with you 100%. Hey, Witchy, welcome. And you're 100% right. So what happened was I watched Noodle today and she explained what happened. She called the police on Noodle. The police actually did an investigation on her false complaint. Mrs. Portland lied to the police, and the police called Noodle and probably called her police department. Found out there was an anti-stalking order against her, and the officer filed charges. And here we go. Hey, David A. Hey, Tracy. So Dorothy is in chat right now saying poor Mrs. Portland. She didn't deserve this. Hey, I wonder what. And making up lies, going along with the other side's narrative. And then Dorothy decided, well, I'm going to get personally involved in this mess. So she decided or threatened today that she's going to send clips to the judge in this case. And I was like, fuck this shit. Fuck this shit. So what kind of clips are you going to send her, Dorothy, the judge? Doctored clips? Those won't be admissible in court, Dorothy. Why don't you ask Robbie what's admissible in court? Because he went through this whole thing before. Hey, Shelly, how are you? So, Dorothy thinks yeah, that could get her thrown in jail as well. So Dorothy thinks, oh, wham, 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 right? That making threats on the internet by Mrs. Portland is no big deal. She didn't mean anything. She was being taunted by Noodle Mash. She's going along with that narrative now. Hey, Red Door. It's okay which side you're on, Jenny. It's okay. It's all right. Yeah. And I'm saying, and I'm thinking, what the hell is wrong with you, Dorothy? It's not poor Mrs. Portland. She knew exactly what she was doing. She knew it was wrong, and she did it anyway. She knew how to lie on YouTube. She knew how to go below the belt with her comments and her nastiness. She knew how to make threats against Noodle and her family. She was told to stop multiple times. We even came on here live, came on this platform. I did, Noodle did, several others in this community came online, explained the consequences to her actions, and she just decided to call us F lovers and other names, and said she didn't care if there was a restraining order, not a restraining order, a court order or not. She was going to do what the fuck she wanted when she wanted to do it. So whose fault is it that Mrs. Portland is in jail tonight? It's not Noodle Mash's fault that she's in jail tonight. It is Mrs. Portland's fault that she's in jail tonight. Let's get that straight, everybody. She decided to push the live button or the record button and upload threatening videos. She made false accusations against people. She lied her ass off. And guess where she is tonight? Jail. Her 2-week stays at the state mental hospital never worked. I was Michelle K. But Dorothy decides to shoot off her mouth with lies tonight. Saying that Noodle was antagonizing Mrs. Portland. Excuse me? How was Noodle Mash antagonizing Mrs. Portland? Can anyone tell me that? And can anyone tell me, like, this is what Red Door Woman just said? We didn't want to see her in jail. We were trying to prevent it. All she had to do was get with the program and leave Noodle Mash alone. Right, everybody? We tried to tell her what the consequences to her actions were. We asked her nicely to stop lying. I came on here to correct her lies, what the truth was. But yeah, nobody has been harassing Mrs. Portland. Nobody has been bullying Mrs. Portland. Nobody has been doing hate attacking Mrs. Portland. It's like, duh. You know, it's all in her head. Yeah, she knows what she did. She didn't care. And then she has the nerve to ask Noodle Mash for proof of an investigation. So I guess it came to her door, everyone, with an officer saying you're under arrest and read her Miranda rights. Yeah, Maggie May, she has every right. Noodle Mash has every right to defend herself against lies and give her opinion. I have every right to comment, to give my opinion on the drama that goes on around here. Right, everyone? Or talk about any other subject matter or an issue that, or a legitimate issue that, yeah, she thinks she's above punishment because of her disability, and now she's realizing her actions have consequences. And then over at Dorothy's, they're crying. Well, she's going to have PTSD after this. Wah, wah. And then Tiffany's gaslighting them all over in her chat. Woo boo hoo hoo. You know, it's yeah, and it was banned from my channel too. I wonder what, because I'm not going to put up with that. How, how many times do I got to put a banner at the bottom of my screen? Do not go real life or attack anybody. Right? Do not send Mrs. Portland any messages, harassing emails. I don't. I don't even go in. I'd recommend you don't even go into her chat when she goes live. Everyone, she's just going to take that as a hate attack when you're not even doing it. But at the same time, they're saying, why didn't Noodle ignore her? Well, duh, Dorothy. We tried ignoring her. We tried ignoring her. And then she says, and then she goes on and says, ignoring me isn't going to work. And then she gets even more vile. And then she starts threatening Samantha. Everyone remembers that video, right? I'm not even going to say some of the words that some of the nasty things that she said to her. Yeah. And then and then she's saying, Dorothy's saying, oh, this is all for the money. This is all for the damn, what you call it, the GoFundMe's or the fundraisers. Give me a break. How many times do we got to she has to explain things? It's like a one track mind over there. Oh, it's just amazing, and how some of these people over at hookers and a bunch of them over there on that side react and think, it's like it's all hate, 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 hate. And then a few people in Dorothy's chat was saying that she was offering refunds on a legal fund. Everybody, did they forget to mention that? Did Dorothy forget to mention it? She's probably not even watching her chat, by the way. Yeah, right, Fredor. Yeah, I see Tits Up or Debbie, whoever you want to call her now, and a few of them over in Dorothy's chat too, feeding the beast. All this nastiness. And it's like, bleh. I'm very disappointed in Dorothy, by the way. Oh, and, yeah, and then Tiff trying to be the moral authority, the fake moral authority, and maybe she should stick to making porn instead of pointing out everyone's shortcomings. Things will get a lot. Things will be better that way. Yeah. So Granny does all the scamming along with Shug Natasha, and and they love to put up revenge porn. But there's nothing wrong with that according to them, right? Because it's they hate Jamie, right? Or they hate this person, so it's all acceptable. They hate Noodle Mash too, so it's all acceptable behavior according to them. But don't you dare do it to them, everyone. Yeah, yeah, Witchy. The only authority she has is I'm holding up her meth pipe. Hey, I'm Zen. Welcome. Okay, now I'm gonna get into the Zoomer mom. Okay, I'm gonna get into the legalities about Mrs. Portland's situation. All right, everybody. I did a live. This was maybe a couple weeks ago, explaining the civil court situation. Now we're in criminal court, everybody. That the whole game changed. So Dorothy doesn't seem to know a whole lot about it. So let me walk you through. So an officer probably went. This is the most likely scenario. Came over to Mrs. Portland's house, said, or went to a magistrate, got a warrant for her arrest for violating the court order, and put her in the back of the police cruiser and took her to jail. Now, normally, in I looked at the bail laws, all right, because in my state and many others, there's usually a judge inside the jail. It's usually a magistrate. It's a lower judge. It's below like a district court judge. And what they can do is issue arrest warrants and set bail amounts for certain offenders. And they're usually placed in the courthouse. Okay. There's maybe a few of them, depending on what county you're in, how many people are there. And but in Oregon, certain types of offenses, right? They don't have that. You got to go before a judge, a district court judge, or whatever they want to call it, a higher court judge, and you got to go for your arraignment. Everybody, they changed the law last year. I looked it up. I looked it up, and due to the bail reform law on the books in Oregon, she is not guaranteed bail. If she's considered a threat to herself or other people, or if she's at a higher risk of committing the crimes that she's accused of. There are two options for that, everyone. If she's at a high risk of violating bail conditions, such as I'm going to answer Zoomer Mom's question. Okay, for example, a judge under normal circumstances could say, as a condition of your bail, you cannot go on the internet. Sounds legitimate, right? Under the circumstances. But Mrs. Portland made it clear in some of her videos that she doesn't care if there's a court order or not. She's going to do it anyway. So the court can take that into consideration when considering bail. So that's the answer to your question, Zoomer Mom. And the other issue with bail is there are several ways to get bail. All right. Since normally it would be your first offense. This is Mrs. Portland's first offense. She would how would I put it? Her bail would be set lower if she did get bail at all, if she got bail in the first place. it'd probably be in the maybe a few thousand to 5,000 or whatever range. Or they could give her the violation of probation or something bond amount. I'm not sure how that works in Oregon, but they have these preset at times bail amounts. I don't know what the bail amount is. I couldn't find it online, but so suppose she's given a bail, everyone. Let's use 2,500 for an example. 2,500. So she can come up with 10% of that and go to a bail bondsman. But the catch to that is the bail bondsman wants insurance that you're going to show up to your court hearing. So they want you to put up property that's worth $2,500, your bail amount, in case you skip town and they can't find you in time. So if she has nothing of value, she doesn't own her own home, she doesn't have a vehicle, correct? So she doesn't have much of anything that's worth the bail amount, the full bail amount. They won't bail her out. So then the next step would be the next bail option is to pay the full bail amount to the court to hold on to until she makes all her court hearings. And supposedly she has this so-called, what's it called? That trust fund of hers. And even if they allow a withdrawal for a full bail amount, it's going to take time to go through. So she could, so even if her so-called sister signs the paper, right, to bail her out, the withdrawal for the court, then it has to probably go through the judge, or probably surrogate's court or something. So then that's another legal loophole, snafu that they have to go through. So she'll probably have to they'll probably have to go through another court hearing just for bail money if they went that route. So I don't see anybody on here on this platform raising bail money for Mrs. Portland. So anything can happen with court, everyone. So the court, so the clock starts ticking tomorrow. So they have 72 hours to charge her, the district attorney. So they can just say, okay, we don't have enough evidence to go forward, and they can drop the whole matter altogether and she gets out, which is unlikely to happen because everything's caught on tape, everyone. With all those videos and the officer's testimony and Noodle's testimony and the corroborating evidence from the video, the YouTube videos. So I highly doubt that's going to happen. So, but anything can happen with the district attorney's office because they have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Yeah, the things that she's done, Michelle K, are absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Putting down gay people, putting down black people, putting down Asian people, the homophobic remarks. She even put down Muslims, for fuck's sakes. And she expects everyone to feel sorry for her. Really, you know? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to get into that too, Miss Samantha, because these lies that are being told can be dangerous. Very, very dangerous. So what's probably going to happen in court if she doesn't make bail or there is no bail, she'll sit in jail till trial, or she'll be released. They can release her on an ankle monitor and take her computer, her electronic devices. They could do that too. The court can do that too. So anything could happen in court, and they probably and I checked and I didn't see Mrs. Portland on the court docket. Everyone, so they have 72 hours to put her on the court docket. Since they have set 3 business days. The Supreme Court ruled on that. The process her through the system. Okay, that question, Nicole. It could bail her out. They could bail her out of jail. Anyone can bail Mrs. Portland out of jail if they have the money. Okay. So if someone has the bail amount money or the full amount, or they have that the bail amount property or collateral, they can put up the 10% and go to a bail bondsman. Which is so. I'm just saying, within 72 hours, starting tomorrow at probably 8 or 9 p.m., she'll have her court hearing, or she'll have her arraignment / bail hearing, and the judge will decide whether she makes bail, whether she gets bail or not, what the amount will be, and what her bail conditions are. And then it goes through the system. And then she gets. Oh, wait a minute. Then she gets. Then she gets to sign the public defender. Then she's asked by the judge, "Do you have money for an attorney?" She'll probably answer no, and they'll assign her the public defender. So then after that, they'll be within 30 days or so, or maybe a little more. They'll make another court date for Mrs. Portland. And they have and the public defender's office has within that time period to meet with Mrs. Portland, talk to Mrs. Portland, come up with the defense with Mrs. Portland. And then comes, yeah, Charlie, and you're absolutely right. So when she meets with her attorney, she has options. She could plead it out. She could plead the case out, go on probation, get time served. There are plenty of options available to Mrs. Portland. All right, everyone. There's no guaranteed outcome here. Just like the civil hearing, you might want to watch my other video as to if Noodle Mash had to hire the lawyer and enforce her court order to get her held in contempt, and the judge would have to refer to the district attorney in the court, the criminal court building, or another judge. So that was the other set of options. So Mrs. Portland screwed up. It probably would have ended up this way anyway. I'm just thankful that and I hope in all this, everybody, that Mrs. Portland actually gets the help that she needs in all this, and gets the message that just because she's mentally disabled doesn't get her off the hook. She still has to follow the laws of the state of Oregon, just like everyone else. It just doesn't excuse her conduct. Yeah, Samantha, and then Dorothy makes it live exploiting the situation. I wasn't even gonna make a live until I saw Dorothy, and then I click watch, and I was hearing all this shit with all the misconceptions and tall tales and lies on there, and it's like, what the hell was going on over there? And then I look in chat, and I was like, oh dear, it's. I saw all the haters over there, and it was like, ugh. It's. I was just as happy with it being announced. Mrs. Portland's in jail. She's where Nuno Mash explained what happened, and I was about to leave it at that, everyone. But people like Dorothy, and I think there's one other that went live about it today on the other side. And then I was getting nasty tags from people. How dare you? You're a monster. Referring to me, Robbie. And I was like, are you serious? We tried to prevent Mrs. Portland from going to jail. We tried to warn Mrs. Portland this isn't acceptable behavior. But he keeps saying, don't tell me what to do. Don't tell us what to do. You're not my mommy and daddy. Everyone remembers those speeches. Hey, Spooky, welcome. Yeah, this kind of gets you mad sometimes. And then she goes on accusing Noodle Mash, Dorothy. She accuses Noodle Mash of grifting. And the incident in Dorothy's chat, everyone, Noodle came clean about it and apologized. What else does Dorothy want? I'm sorry. People aren't perfect around here. People have feelings, it's. I remember the day that Patty lost it in Dorothy's chat. And I was the one talking to her to calm her down. I understood how upset she was. That she was going to let Mrs. Portland on her channel, and then she did a 180, probably because it wasn't beneficial to her. They have someone that's so volatile. Yeah, Noodle Mash didn't want any of this. But these women over at Hookers and AJ's and Granny's, the street rat, they can't stop it. They don't know how to stop. So what does Noodle do? She has to defend herself. So everyone, all right, everyone. Let's put it this way, all right? So they say, but these naysayers are saying, well, Mrs. Portland's mentally disabled, so she should get a pass. She's not going to actually go through with her threats. You should just ignore her lies because nobody takes her seriously. Really, everyone? There's always someone that's mentally competent over at Hookers or Natasha's or the Street Rat, Scotty, that will believe this bullshit or something she says, Mrs. P, and would be willing to drive cross country and do something. It's happened before. I've seen it happen. It's been it's been over 10 years, but it's happened before, everyone. Okay? It's happened before. Someone got mad over someone at someone because they wouldn't support them or wouldn't break off support or something. It was over some petty shit, right? So this guy drives to Florida from Connecticut to slash someone's tires and throw fish in her front lawn and and then put threats on the front door. Then he drove to Alabama, everybody, from there, and couldn't find the other lady's house because it didn't show up correctly on Google Maps. Good for that was a good thing, right, everyone? That happened. And then on the way back, he drove to Queens. Okay, everyone, and tried to do it, but the victim was actually on her front porch and saw him, and he ran off as a coward. So yeah, it happened 10 years ago, but there's always someone that's crazy, screwed up in the head, that does this little real life shit that will actually go to someone's house and do something nasty. You know, it's yeah, if it happened to them spooky, they'd be singing a different tune. But the thing is, they need someone to hate. They need someone to start the drama with. They need content. Hey, I don't go around here in this around the tubes starting drama. I talk about it. Okay? Or I give my opinion on it. I don't say, okay, I don't like this person, right? Let me start let me crank up a live stream and start telling some lies about them and antagonize them. And then a big fight comes on comes up, and I don't do that. There's plenty of crazy cuckoos online that actually do that. And they're over at the Street Rats. They're over at Scotty's. They're over at Natasha's. They're over at AJ's. There's plenty, and hookers. It's there's no shortage of them. Absolutely, they need to stop silencing victims and enabling perpetrators. This is a problem because in some jurisdictions in this country, they arrest domestic violence victims. Yeah, you heard me. And they arrest the perpetrator. And they let the courts deal with it. They just say they just see two people fighting, whatever. One has the injuries, one doesn't. They arrest them both and let the court deal with it. Let the judge deal with it. And I don't think that's right. But that's what some of these cops do these days. Because they don't want to sort through the facts. Yeah. Witchy, because when Mrs. Portland got arrested, I went to Google. You know, I went to Google and started looking some stuff up because I don't know everything, right? I don't think Dorothy does that. I watch my chat, right? Oh yes, everyone. If anyone has premium, please download Dorothy's live, please. Thank you, and send it to Noodle Mash. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it comes to intelligence too, because did you ever hear the old saying? It comes from Judge Judy. If it doesn't make sense, it's probably not true. What she's referring to is if it doesn't make sense, it's either not true or you're not getting the whole story. But at the same time, some things that people do don't make sense. You know? Yeah, normally in some states that's true, Witchy. But in some states, okay, if there's a court order, right, and someone violates it, that is contempt of court. But if you break anti-stalking order, a restraining order, a harassment order, all these different types of other orders, there are more consequences than just contempt of court. You can get charged with a variety of different, and the sanctions are more stiff, or the sentences are more stiff. Yeah, isn't that too much to ask, Michelle? She needs to get help. Mrs. Portland needs to get help, and she doesn't want to get it. Yeah, aquarium baby, that's a good possibility. That is probably a very, very good possibility. And that's probably the same thing for Walter's family too. She probably started trouble with them too. So it's like, yeah, yeah. I disagree with Robbie. I watched Robbie's live last night, and I disagree with him on some points, but I agree with him on others. It's like, okay, I'm not sitting here jumping up and down for joy. I agree with him on that. It's not something you should be jumping up and down saying yay, 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 she's in jail, let's party. It's I had to check my behavior last night. It says yay, yay, it's like it's sad it had to come to this. It's but at the same time, I don't agree with uh, the two people. There's only two people that I would say were legitimately crossing the line with Mrs. Portland. Okay, the one is banned on my channel, Jamie's channel, and Mrs. and Noodle Mash's channel. Okay, everyone, we do not put up with bullshit like that. And Dorothy doesn't even understand that. We don't put up with people that sit there and send nasty messages antagonizing someone to react. If she's going to react, right, and harass someone, she's going to do it right on her own. We're not going to sit there and encourage her or give her something to claim victimhood to. Yeah, spooky. Yeah, they have sentencing guidelines. So they have sentencing guidelines for breaking anti-stalking order. So it goes like, okay, does the person have remorse for what they did? Are they likely to do it again? You know, aggravating versus mitigating factors, and then they spit out a sentence. She could leave on probation and time served, spooky. Or the judge can give her additional time plus probation. Or she may not leave on probation at all and just get a custodial sentence. So anything can happen, spooky. Anything can happen in that courtroom. And then right after she gets her lawyer, then she can ask for a preliminary hearing, which the judge will determine if there's probable cause to go to trial or enough. Yeah, red door. Yeah, it depends on the county jail, red door. Because some facilities I'm reading about, they do allow internet to the inmates because they banned mail service because they wanted to stop the contraband from coming into jail. So what they do is they okay, you want to send messages to inmates, right? You want to send them a letter or a card or something. You have to do it by the internet. But I don't think they're allowed. The inmates are allowed all these extra bells and whistles to websites. You get what I'm saying? I have no idea how that works, actually. So I'm just we're all part of the true crime community in some point, in some levels. So I watched 60 Days In. I seen that on 60 Days In. So I just didn't actually research that aspect of it. So I'm just reporting what I've seen, but I'm sure of it. They don't allow social media. It's probably a restricted internet. It's probably called JailNet or something. Yeah, I'm Zen. I can see that. I could see that. It's a supervised environment, and she has no self control. She needs cueing for appropriateness. Yeah, absolutely. It's often part of plea agreements to stay offline, and they enforce that often in probation. It's often a term of their probation to stay off the internet. So actually, probate if she's actually placed on probation, it'd be actually be a good thing, because if she actually because if she actually violates her probation and is on the internet, she could be reported, and then she get a and she go back to jail, get a go up to the judge for a bail, and then she'd go for a violation of her probation hearing. So that's often how it works too, everybody. So, oh, absolutely, red door. The judge will, the defense will probably ask for it. Actually, I think the defense will actually ask for a comprehensive psych exam, because I don't think Mrs. Portland actually has a much of a defense. They're gonna try to determine she knows right from wrong, knew exactly what she was doing, knew the consequences to her actions, understood them. It's and once they determine that she knows the difference between right and wrong, knew what she was doing, and didn't care, then they'll have an actual report to say, well, I think the only, in my opinion, the only thing it will do for her is it's like a mitigating factor towards sentencing, or how much time she'll get, or if she's placed on probation. It's the only thing that these mitigating defenses do, is she's not legally insane. Yeah, she can control herself just fine. Spooky. We all seen it. We all saw it with our own eyes. And Robbie had a point one time when he said that it takes some thought to come up with the out of the box or below the belt insults. You really have to think about someone, right? To actually go that low, some of these really low comments that she makes. I'm just telling it like it is. It's. And then Noodle is just getting on the bad end of the stick here. I'm just saying. I don't give a shit who was here first. All right, everyone. I don't give a shit who was here first. If they went to high school together, right? And I don't care if they lived in the same apartment complex. I never cared about that because Mrs. Portland likes to make that so-called relevant and lie about that each and every time. Good morning, Midnight Raven. I don't know when we don't know when her hearing is. We're just assuming it's tomorrow, Yellowfish. But it will be within 72 hours, likely. So she will be arraigned within 72 hours, starting tomorrow, starting at probably 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And the clock starts then. Within 72 hours, she'll be in court before a judge. Most likely. That's the way the system's supposed to work, but it doesn't always work that way. If that answers your question. Because they changed the law because they have a list of offenses you get like a desk appearance ticket for. And if you commit a certain types of offenses, then you don't get let out of jail. You sit in jail until you see a judge. So that's how the Oregon bail laws work. So when you see a judge, you have to wait to see. I don't know if it's a circuit court judge or a district court judge, something like that, and then they assess your bail amount, or if you get bail at all. So at the bail hearing, so at the bail arraignment hearing, the state will talk, the defendant will talk, or if they actually have a lawyer, the attorney will talk. And then the judge makes a decision, which can be reviewed at different time, like by the trial judge. Then it's usually assigned to a judge afterwards. So most likely after she sees that judge within 72 hours, she'll be seeing another judge. Yeah, the judge that she sees within 72 hours, that's just the arraignment phase. Then she'll get assigned a judge, like for a preliminary hearing and trial prep and whatever. And if she plead bargain, she'll probably see that judge to allocute or whatever the law is in Oregon. So that's how that works. Yeah, anything can happen in these courtrooms. Charlie Ann, look at the Casey Anthony verdict. We all thought she would be convicted of the top 3 counts: first degree murder, second degree, or manslaughter. She was acquitted. We all thought OJ would get convicted. Look what happened. It's. I sure hope so, Jenny. I sure hope so. I hope this is a tough lesson for Mrs. P. She needs to learn that the laws apply to everybody. She isn't exempt from the law just because she has a mental disability. I think this is just my theory, but I think that, and many people think this too, is because she thinks she has a mental disability that she thinks she can do whatever the hell she wants and get away with it. I think this is going to be a rude awakening for her. Really? Yeah, yeah, she could. This is Portland. She can plead not guilty. She can go to trial. She could drag it out. But you can't argue with the facts. You can't argue with the truth here. It's all on here's the thing with YouTube, everyone. Everything's caught and video. She thought she could take everything down, but someone always is there to download it. But hey, this is Mrs. Portland we're talking about. She thought she could evade YouTube. One channel goes down, she puts up another one. Hey Gordo. Lily Rose. Okay, let me respond to you. All right. We're not using Mrs. Portland for money. Do you have any idea how little I made? Really? I started People got the wrong idea at first. They thought I was with Noodle Mash at first. I wasn't supporting any of their behaviors at first. My first impression of Noodle Mash was, how do I put it? And Mrs. Portland was that there are two people who knew each other in real life who couldn't get along on the internet. That was my first impression. And I knew Mrs. Portland had behavior problems. So I looked and I said, okay, people are antagonizing her in her chat. People don't know how to ignore her. So I just popped in and said, why don't we just ignore her, everybody? Stop antagonizing her. Stop calling the police on her. Right? Let's just do that. And I told Noodle, I was telling Noodle Mash, why don't you go to the negotiating table and try to work something out? Because it wasn't benefiting either one of you. But the thing is, Mrs. Portland couldn't tell the truth of it, or didn't know the truth if it hit her in the head. Yeah, she was caught in lies. She was caught in lies. I knew she wasn't totally truthful either. But at the time, but I'm gonna be honest with everybody. I thought at the time that I saw all the hate channels. They're over at their Natasha Sims, and I thought that she was over there. She came over. I actually bought one thing. at the beginning. So I don't make money off this Lily Rose. I don't make money off of Mrs. Portland. And Noodle Mash, she'd rather talk about something else. Okay? Okay. So how is Noodle Mash? So you're implying Noodle Mash loves this and is making money off this and loves this. That's not true. She'd rather that the other side leave her alone, Mrs. Portland leave her alone, so she can move on to other her crafts. If Mrs. Portland decided to just do her crafts and ignore all you nitty bitties, oh, okay, Edward's mom, I'll see about that. All right, she might have been scheduled later, so yeah, of course, Witchy. It's yeah, it's maybe the wake up call she needs. It's the state mental hospital didn't help her at all. She thinks she can get away with everything, so it's maybe this is what she needed. It's all it would take. All this would have taken was Mrs. Portland obeying a court order. She didn't have to like it. She didn't have to like the court order, but she had to obey it, like everyone else in this country. Yeah, we're gonna find out tomorrow, Spooky. All right, we're gonna probably find out tomorrow or the next day if she has a bail or bail will be denied. But here's the thing, Spooky. We can't assume what a judge is going to decide. Anything can happen during an arraignment. She can get bail and things. She can have extra terms put on it, or she can get denied bail altogether. Anything can happen. So I'm just not going to assume what's going to happen because I've seen crazier things happen, especially during trials. I thought I thought, oh, look, with this evidence, no jury's going to acquit, and then the jury comes back with a not guilty verdict. So you just can't um assume. Even with these judges, I thought, okay, the judge isn't going to put up with this, but the judge didn't dismiss the case. So it's anything can happen in the justice system in this country. Sometimes it's not fair. Sometimes it's. I wonder That's a tricky. That's actually a tricky. That's actually very, very tricky. They can't force someone to take their medicine, unfortunately, but they can comply. They can force her to undergo counseling. It's a tricky. It's a slippery slope here. It's a very slippery slope. She's probably sitting in a holding drunk tank till she finds out or has her court hearing. Hmm. No, spooky. What they'll probably do is they'll probably put her on suicide watch. Actually, if she's like saying, "If you don't let me out, I'll kill myself," type of situation. So they'd actually put her on suicide watch, put her in a cell by herself, and then feed, and they wouldn't let her out except to take a shower or something, and she'd be in a suicide smock. That's usually the procedure with that. And if she's acts up, then they'll probably put her in isolation. So that's not a, yeah. If she was acting up when she got in, yeah, they put her in the drunk tank. But they would have probably figured out by now she has mental health problems. So then they would call mental health to deal with her. But then they have to then the jail would have to call her doctor with a signed release to look at her records, and then if she wants to take medication, then she can take her medication while incarcerated. But sometimes that takes time too. So yeah, because the jails deal with addicts all the time, so it's not a perfect system. Yeah, yeah, I agree. So some people cannot handle this platform or any platform, for that matter. Yeah, it already is criminal spooky. She's gonna get a public defender because what she got arrested by the cops and she's in the county jail, so she is gonna get a public defender. It's just the facts, and she could face up to 1 year in jail for it because it's a Class A misdemeanor in Oregon. Absolutely, I'm Zen. It turned criminal the minute she broke that order, and then it turned criminal again once she started communicating threats of harm. So here's another thing that could happen, though, everybody. The district attorney could look at the evidence and amend the charges. She can add the district attorney's office can add charges. They don't have to go with the what the police charged her with. The district attorney could say, "Wait a minute, she's threatening someone's life here or threatening someone's safety." She could add charges to Mrs. Portland, the district attorney's office. So that could happen too. Correct. Yellowfish. So she will stay in jail through this unless she makes bail. So that makes it a criminal matter. So she could. That's if the judge grants bail. Yup. Zoomer Mom, you're 100% correct. That's what I read. That's what I read online. So nobody is exempt from state or federal laws. Not even Mrs. Portland. And this is the thing, everyone. And then Dorothy goes on crying that she got strip searched, and it's horrifying experience. Okay, I'm sure it was a horrifying experience. Jail isn't designed to be a 5-star hotel, everybody. It isn't the Hilton. It isn't the Marriott. But she knowingly committed a crime. And the police had every right to pick her up for it. I'm just giving my opinion. I'm sure people on the other side, the hate community, will disagree with me, but their opinion means squat to me. Being mentally disabled is not a free pass for breaking the law. Absolutely. Get that through your skull, AJ, Dorothy, Tiffany. It isn't a free pass. So you can cry, I'm so sorry for Mrs. Portland, all you like. It doesn't give Mrs. Portland the right to go over, to hit the live button, to record a video, threatening, making threats to Noodle Mash, threatening her kids, her family, doxing her in a way where it would put her in danger, her lies. It's no excuse, everybody. How many times do I gotta or how many different ways do I have to tell people this? She violates TOS on here. How many times? Like at least once every time she uploads a video. And let's see, Amber loses a channel and Jamie does. How is that fair, everybody? Really? Come on here. How is that fair? Really, Brooke? Can you show us where, Brooke? Or are you just shooting really, that's not true. As long as you have 10%, you can bond out without putting up any other assets. Really? You have to put up something for collateral to the bail bondsman. The court doesn't accept 10%. They want 100% of the bail. Can you show me where that's not true, Brooke? Maybe in a few states, but I'm talking about the majority of the states. Because a bail bond, I want to tell you how bail bonds work. So you go in, someone gets arrested, someone wants to bail someone out. So the bail bondsman, okay, you pay 10, 15% to bail someone out. You put property or assets as collateral. So in case they can't find the person, they don't lose their money or the insurance company's money. Then they issue an insurance policy. So their appearance is insured. That's how bail bondsmen work. Okay, everybody. So if you want to look it up, look at how bail works with a bail bondsman. I looked this up, and if you want to look into it any further, go watch Dog the Bounty Hunter. Yeah, they'll explain that his site is pretty good with that. So watch a few episodes when what's her name, Beth, talks about the collateral that they have to put up. Yeah, and if they run, right, this is the misconception of the dog show. If they run, right, then they get the bill. You get the bill when they run. Most people didn't know that. You can get the bill from the bounty hunter who comes picks you up. So these people, bail bondsmen, are in to make money. They're not in it to lose money. Everybody. So yes, I will be in a few minutes. I'll be getting off this one and starting a new one. So correct, Donnie. You're 100% correct. First time violation is a misdemeanor, A, and she could receive 1 year in jail and a $2,500 fine. But you can get anything from probation to that. That's the minimum. Anything can happen. She can get 6 months for all we know. She can get 30 days. She can get time served by the time it gets to the case can get dumped for some technicality. We don't know this. So don't give your hopes up, everybody. But Dorothy was on there championing for Mrs. P. She wasn't excusing her behavior, but it was getting fucking disgusting the way these people were making excuses for Mrs. Portland. So if Mrs. Portland didn't want to go to jail, she shouldn't have broken the law. That's just my opinion on it. Yeah, she was making false police reports, calling the police. So whose fault is that, everybody? That's Mrs. Portland's fault. Not Noodle Mash's fault. Noodle Mash is not filing false police reports. But Dorothy appears to be blaming Noodle Mash for everything, just like the other side is doing. So I'm just correcting the narrative. Yeah, Lily. I'm meaning to think that too. It's like this fake outrage. It's like, okay, I probably don't agree with I don't agree with Noodle with she when she went to her channel. But she admitted it, owned it, and apologized for it. What else does Dorothy want from it? Nobody's perfect. If someone did that to me and then apologized, it would be like, okay. I wouldn't sit there and hold on to it forever. Hey, S. Hockett. Yeah. Yeah, this misinformation campaign is dangerous. Noodle Mash has every right on here to defend herself. And everyone on YouTube has the right to respond to her or to talk about what she's saying, have their opinion. But Mrs. Portland views anything that doesn't go along with her narrative as a hate attack or doesn't go along with her opinion. So she will get one, Lily Rose. She's going to get an attorney. She's going to get a public defender from the state. She'll probably get a psych evaluation. Her lawyer will probably ask for one. So I don't think this is going to be a quick resolution to this. But there's many layers of the onion that needs to be peeled. But she will get an advocate, Lily Rose, through this. But what about Noodle Mash? Right? Doesn't the system have to be fair? Right? Yeah, this is my only hope about this. That she gets the help she needs. She wasn't getting help from the state mental hospital the several times she was committed, so it's probably she had some enablement there issues. But they're not going to the county Washington County is not going to enable her. They're not going to she'll be the one. The guards at the jail will be giving her the orders. They'll be telling her when to pee, when to shit, when to sleep, when to eat, and when she gets her medicine. Hey, it's facts, everybody. And if she wants to misbehave or cause a temper tantrum, she'll be restrained accordingly. Yeah, none of us are bad people. We're just tired of it. And she treated Robbie so nasty, did him so dirty. It's yeah, unfortunately, Red Door. All right, everybody. I'm gonna restart this live. We're gonna go do Eli next. So okay, everybody. Hey, Gold Star. Yeah, Noodle Mash is the victim here. Don't confuse that, everybody. Noodle Mash is the victim. Samantha Bree is the victim. There are plenty of victims in this community. Don't forget that, everybody. All right, I'm going to restart a stream in a few minutes. So we're going to go to Eli's channel. So, all right, everybody. We're probably going to have a part 2 to this. So another day. So, all right, everybody, stay tuned. All